All right, guys, on the video, give me just a second. I got to start the recorder for the audio podcast here and get through the intro, and then I'll be right back with you guys to tell you what we're doing in the video today. I got a bag of goodies over here. You're going to want to stick around for that. All right, guys, thanks for listening to the Precision Rifle Network podcast. Back here with episode number 11, and I have a bag full of goodies for you guys today. And I will apologize right up at the start. Audio podcast, folks, you're going to be hearing some thumping and bumping out of the audio as I'm moving some of these devices around on this table. It's going to sound a little something like this. So I apologize for that. There's nothing I can do. I'm using this kind of hollow core wood table, and it's all I've got. So, all right. So let me get into it here with you guys. So I've first, what I want to show you guys on the audio or on the video portion, you guys on the audio portion, you're going to have to go check out the video in order to see what I'm talking about visually today. This rucksack from cole-tac is cole-tac's kind of initial attempt, I'll call it, at building a like a rucksack or a backpack or something like that. And I personally think they knocked it out of the park. It's lightweight and it's structureless, and so you can just compact it down to about the size of a softball. You can throw it into another bag, and if you just need a smaller day pack or maybe a carry-on for travel, like through the airport or something like that, it might be perfect for that. What you can fit inside here, like let's say for a minimalist hunting outfit, like it's got a sleeve in there so you can put a water bladder. It would hold a barricade bag, set of binoculars, a little bit of food, maybe some rain gear. Like it's ideally sized for that. But what I've got in here today is the topic of discussion for the audio podcast. If you're interested in anything from cole-tac, guys, they're one of our sponsors, and you can use code PRN10 to get 10% off over at cole-tac on anything that they sell, including this super sweet backpack. So let's get into the episode here. I'm going to open this guy up, and I'm going to start by pulling these things out and showing you what I'm talking about today. So first up, we've got the Swaro-Leica-Sig SLC 15 by 56 binos. Now, this is nothing new for guys who have been around the precision long range game for a while, or you just know optics in general, but I've been using these things for some years now, and just optically speaking, and anybody who's looked through a pair of these and been completely ruined for life on your opinion of glass, like these will make you a glass snob. The optical quality of the glass is second to none. It is superior to all other contenders, in my opinion. They work great. The downside, if you want to call it a downside, if you're into this sort of thing, the other two models have this feature and these don't, and so it's kind of what I'm talking about them today, is that the SLC 15s by 56s are not range finding. Now, Swaro makes some range finding binoculars, but they kind of unfortunately priced themselves out of the running. It's just, they know they've got good products and their glass is superior, but then when it comes to technology, they just price themselves out of it. It's like their latest thermal optic. It's just this handheld optic, and it's like their first attempt, and it's way behind the times on resolution and quality. And then they go and they price it at like $5,000. It's just, I don't know what they're doing, but messing up. But they did not mess up when they created the Swaro SLC 15s. I use these for spotting, so they're super good for spotting precision rifle matches and things of that nature. Like I remember at one of the 22 long rifle matches where I was an RO and I was spotting, I was running a stage, and you can actually see the bullets in the air and exactly where they go on. Like one bullet, there was two little plates right beside each other, and a 22 LR bullet went right between the middle of the two plates, and I was able to see that with these no problem at about 135 yards or whatever that target was set up at. Like, they're incredible. I can't say enough good things about them. The downside is no rangefinder. And now, what could potentially be a downside too is the fact that they're 15 times. So for centerfire precision rifle matches, 15x is great. I mean, it's plenty, because the closest things we're looking at, are usually in the neighborhoods of 300 yards away. So it's not a big deal that you've got all that magnification, that 15 power magnification. It's a good magnification to give you a nice wide field of view to see what you need to see as far as spotting trace and impacts and misses and all that kind of stuff. Gathering information from mirage and dust and you name it, it's great. But when it comes to field matches like Competition Dynamics or NRL Hunter, 15 times binocular is actually a little bit too much magnification and a little too narrow field of view. And so the vast majority of competitors that I'm seeing there, myself included, in all my vast experience, I've only done one NRL Hunter match right now, but I've done one Competition Dynamics Team Safari field match as well. So in all my vast amount of experience, at least what I've been seeing all the people using is 10x binos. And what I'm just going to go ahead and say right up at the start that I think 10x is probably the way to go. You've just got a lot wider field of view, and so the SLCs are not my choice for that. Like, this is a great tool for long range precision rifle centerfire and 22 matches. If you have to RO or something like that, these are great. Optical quality is second to none. So that's that one. Let's move on to number 2 here, which shout out to DJ, who is one of my Patreon supporters, who let me borrow the Leica GeoVid Rs. These things are pretty sweet too. I'm going to tell you about them real quick, but I also just wanted to shout out Patreon and say we've got a pretty awesome group of Patreon supporters that give just a tiny bit of money every month to help keep Precision Rifle Network up and running, and help me buy like ammo for all the videos that I have to do, and then there's cool people in there that will just let me borrow their gear so that I can talk about it on the podcast and use it and make review videos and whatnot. So shouting that out, thanks Deej. So as I pull these out, obviously the case is really nice, well padded. So the Leica GeoVid Rs, you've got a 15 by 56 binocular as far as the magnification. These have rangefinder built in, and the rangefinder is, I think, of all the ones that I've seen and tested, the rangefinder in these is second to none. Like, this is the best operating, fastest, most accurate rangefinder that I've seen in any of these rangefinding binoculars. The downside, like I said, is that you want a wider field of view. You want a 10x. So if they had a Leica GeoVid 10x rangefinder, that might be ideal. The glass in these is very, very good as well. They're not as good as the Swaros. Like, you put them side by side and you can tell the Swaros are just brighter and crisper, more of an HD kind of a feel to it. These are not bad though. Like, don't hear that the Leicas are bad in any way. Like, optically, they are very, very good. I just look at a lot of different glass, and so I can tell the difference. But the rangefinder is excellent. Another what could be considered a downside with the Leica GeoVids is that, applied ballistics is not included. So you don't get a solver in here. It doesn't Bluetooth with your Kestrel or your watch or whatever. So it's not really ideally suited for field matches. Again, 15 power, so it's a little bit too much magnification for use in NRL Hunter matches or sniper team matches, field matches, that sort of thing. But if you're looking for that magnification with really good glass and you want a rangefinder built in, well then the Leica GeoVids are absolutely excellent. One thing I will say about these that I notice is I don't know if it's kind of a downside or not, but just naturally where you feel like you want to place your hands is on the big kind of front optical lens here, objective lens. And if you get your hands on that, even if it's mounted on a tripod, you tend to want to get your hands up here. And the problem with that is, and the guys on the video here, I don't know if you can see it or not, I'll wait till the camera switches to my main view, which it should be any second. There we go. So right in here is where your laser is for your rangefinder. And if you get your hands up in there, you're going to block it. You're going to block your rangefinder. And that's a problem. So it's a conscious thing to have to keep your hand and your fingers from getting in the way of the laser. So that's a little bit of a downside to me. But other than that, man, they are really good. I like these front caps on here for the objective lenses. Like, they're nice and tight. They're rubberized. They would be weather resistant for sure. They just fit really nicely in there and keep dust and water and all the things out. I like that. I wish both of my other sets had that. Like, the Swaros have it, but they're just kind of loosey-goosey and they stretch out, and they're definitely not water resistant, whereas, I mean, like, water could work its way down in there, and I suppose it eventually could too on the Leica Geovids, but the seal on that is just really good. I don't know how else to explain that. The eye cups on both the Swaros and the Leicas operate the same way, like most binoculars do. You twist, get them in and out to get your eye relief. You got your adjustment wheel here. There's rings underneath both eyepieces so that you can fine-tune the picture. And when it comes to the rangefinder reticle and the readout can also be adjusted to, be nice and crisp and clear by adjusting only the right side, and the left side on the Leicas kind of adjusts that left side crisp and clear picture, and then your main wheel overall obviously adjusts overall crispness, clarity of the image. So pretty straightforward. It's kind of nice. This mount is kind of nice. It's kind of a plastic, but it holds the binoculars. Got a strap over the top with a quick on and off. Just pull it off and it comes off. Like, it's got like a little bar that hooks over this little plastic piece. Really easy to get on and off. And I like that because then you've got your little ARCA adapter on the bottom of that, so you can easily just attach it right to the top of your tripod or whatever it is. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about those because those are nice as well. And yeah, a couple of positives, a couple of negatives, but overall a really nice set. And these guys are, I can't remember. These are, gosh, I'm going to have to look it up. Maybe on the video, guys, I'll pop up on the screen, but you guys on the audio podcast, I'm going to have to apologize. You're not going to get to see it on the screen. I want to guess roughly that the Leica Geovids are in that $2,500 range. The Swarovski SLC 15s are in that $2,500 range. And then, so I'm going to set that aside just for a second and talk about the third piece that I have in the bag. What's in the bag? All right, so this, again, I'm using a cole-tac product here, guys. Binocular holder from cole-tac. And these are the Sig Kilo 10Ks. And these are 10 by binoculars, and they have a rangefinder built in. They also have applied ballistics built in, so you can link it up with your Kestrel or other type of device like that, whether it be your phone, like an app, like the Sig app, for example, or the other apps. As long as it Bluetooths and can talk to it, it can send it data from here. This also has weather built into it and will send that data. It will connect with things like the Garmin watch, which I have on my wrist here. You know, this is AB in it and this has AB in it, so they will communicate. So technically I can range something with the Sig 10Ks and it'll show up on the watch, and it'll actually show up on my Kestrel as well. There's a couple of downsides to these, and then I'll finish up with some positives on them, but The few main downsides that I've seen with these, now that I've had a time to use them, probably about a year now I've been using them just in general. I've used them at matches for spotting and just in general. I've used them in low light and bright light. I've used them out in the desert. I've used them in the mountains. I've used them here in the Midwest. And I have used them in field matches and an NRL hunter match. And so all these things, take whatever that is, just more experience with it. The one main downside that a lot of people see as a downside is that the glass has a blue tint to it. And, you know, the way that I see that, and some people have seen my set, like in person, some people have seen my set of 10Ks and the blue tint, and then they've seen other people's SIG 10Ks with the blue tint, and they're like, well, your blue tint isn't as much as the other guy's blue tint. Well, I don't know. The only other pair of these 10Ks that I have seen were basically identical in blue tintedness to mine, and it is not enough to bother me. Like, it definitely, I'm looking out my window over here, guys, and yeah, it definitely has a blue hue to it, but it's really not that bad. And some people are like, well, is that a mistake? And no, I don't think it's a mistake. I think SIG did it on purpose. And what it does is, you know, if you look at, like, let's just say you look at a color wheel, well, what's opposite of blue? Oranges or browns. And what color are most animals that you're out trying to hunt? Orangey, brownish kind of colors. And so it helps with the contrast of animals, being able to spot them and see them. Where it can sort of hurt you is if you're trying to find like grayed out targets on an overcast day, and the targets happen to be in shadow, and then you've got this blue tint added in on top of it, it can make targets a little bit harder to see. That being said, again, I've used it in a match, competition dynamics match, where that's exactly the situation that we had. We had a rainy, crappy day, obviously overcast. They never paint any of their targets, and they deliberately put them in shadows and trees and things like that so that they're kind of hidden and you have to try to work to locate them. And I didn't have as much trouble as I had some trouble because it was my first match. And I didn't really understand their way of, how you explain it? I didn't really understand their way of laying things out. Now I do. There's more of a strategy to it, and finding those targets is easier now that I've been through it once. And the people who have been through it before know exactly what I mean. But they work great, and the optical quality is there. It's definitely not on par with the Swaros or the Leicas as far as the high-end quality of the glass is concerned. But again, it is good enough. It's like the difference between, let's say, over here we've got a tangent theta and we've got a zero compromise in glass quality, and then over here we've got a Leupold Mark V or a Tractoric or something like that, Vortex Razor HG Gen 2 or something. Like, the glass is very good, and it's good enough to do everything that you need it to do. There is better glass, but do you really need that? Like, I think these answer that question and say, no, you don't really need that. Like, this will do everything you need it to do. The laser is not quite as accurate as the Leicas, but it is very good. I haven't had any trouble ranging targets out to a mile with the 10Ks. I'm told they'll go much further, but here in Missouri, I don't have any further. I've got a mile at the range that I go to, so that's what I'm able to do. And had no trouble, doing that. And obviously, I had to mount it to a tripod and get very stable and sturdy, but it was returning proper yardages. And the Bluetooth stays connected for the most part. The data inside of here, once you have it in here, is spot on. It lined up within 1/10 of my Kestrel with the exact same matching data. There were a few times where it was off 1/10, even though the data matched exactly and the rifle details and everything matched exactly. Somehow it was 1/10 off, but man, for the most part, they're great. Now, another downside of the SIG 10Ks is the connectivity issue that I just can't trust it to 100% be there when I need it to be. So if I'm in a competition and if my sole plan was to range targets with the SIG 10Ks and then look at my Kestrel for the solution, sometimes it connects and runs the way that it's supposed to, and then sometimes it just randomly disconnects. And obviously that's horrible on the clock if it disconnects on you and all of a sudden you're not getting the proper data, or you range it and you see the range change in the binoculars, but for whatever reason it doesn't change on the Bluetooth connected device. Like, you can't trust that, and that's the current problem with it to me. So, right now, what I'm doing with it still is I'm not really using the Bluetooth connectivity with the AB. What I'm doing is I am ranging with the binoculars, spotting and ranging with binoculars, and then I'm still just using an arm board for my data, and it works very, very well. Another downside with the SIG 10Ks is the little eye cup pieces. And the guys on the camera, you're going to be able to see this. The other guys won't. So these eye cups come off very easily. And the piece that's underneath there, that is like the part that turns and adjusts that ocular lens up and down, it's very flimsy plastic. And I'm really gentle on my gear, on my expensive gear like this, and I've already busted this little plastic piece on one of these sides. It's very thin, and I think that's a failure on SIG's part. I just think they should have made that a little bit more robust. But other than that, it's great. You can take those things all apart to clean them, same as the other ones and whatnot. But that's it. A little bit shorter podcast today, guys. I just wanted to get you something about each of the binoculars that I've been kind of playing with and considering, use cases. So again, just to reiterate, the Swaro 15x56, this is, the high-end choice for spotting. If you're going to a centerfire match or 22 match or something like that in our game, it would be great for locating animals. If you're hunting or whatever. Optical quality, absolutely second to none. Expensive though, right? The Leica Geovids, again, optical quality is up there. It's very good. The Rangefinder is second to none. It's probably the best rangefinder as far as accuracy and, quick return and all that kind of stuff. Downside on this is that the placement of the laser tends to get in the way of my hands when I'm just normally holding the device. Maybe a downside is that they're 15s when you really just want a 10x. And then the 10K from SIGs. It's got probably almost as many, I don't know. No, it still has more positives than negatives, I would say. But they're a very specific use case. So anyway, my choice day to day is the SIG 10Ks. They just work when I need them to work. And they perform, they do everything that I need them to do. They're robust, the coating on the outside, the rubbery coating, they're durable as far as that's concerned, except that little eyepiece. Yeah, so anyway, take from all of that what you will, guys. Make sure and check out our sponsors below the videos and use those coupon codes to save yourself a little bit of money. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again soon in another episode of Precision Rifle Network Podcast.